Hello everyone, it's Sagrannus here with a bit of a special video. Now, this should be a demo impressions, should it not? Yes, it should, but it's not. There was nothing on the Steam demo page that I had any desire to look at, so I'm not going to. Instead, we're going to have a second special video for the week. We've already looked at Wasteland 2's Director's Cut. Now we're going to look at Age of Decadence. Now, Age of Decadence has been in the works for quite some time. I remember reading about it, in fact, several years ago, and I played the demo, I think it was last year, and also, funded its development. So as a disclaimer, I have assisted in the development in some small way. Looking at, I looked at it a long time ago, when it was still very much in development. This is now the full release, released a few days ago. And it's by Iron Tower Studio. So, before we actually dive into anything else, even the options menu, I am going to just say a few things about myself that I really haven't actually brought up before on my channel. Now, if you follow my Twitter, you might know some of this. If you read my blog, you might know some of this. Okay, I'm an ancient history student in Australia at the University of Queensland. I'm actually in my honours year, and my focus and what my thesis looks at is the reception of history. So I don't sit down and look at ancient sources and try to work out whether the way we perceive events is correct or anything like that. I don't write new histories or anything like that. What I look at is what's called reception, and what that is looking at how things like modern media use ancient history to tell their stories, to support their ideologies, things like that. Reception has quite a broad spectrum. My actual thesis at the moment is looking at films and looking at the reception of ancient history in 21st century films set in Rome, Britain. However, reception does expand beyond films based on historical events and games based on historical events, which are probably going to be my focus of my next thesis. Age of Decadence does technically sort of fall into that field, because while it is not sort of actual ipso facto history, interestingly the music stopped and doesn't loop. Very odd. Even though it doesn't purport to be a factual account, it is inspired by history. It is inspired by the Roman Empire. Just looking at this screen, I mean, you've got a coin there that is actually an engraving that's very reminiscent of a coin, very reminiscent of a coin of Alexander. In fact, down to the point where I can actually see the ram's horns in its diadem. And of course, you've got a man who looks very much like a Roman legionary or centurion, and so down to his shield having the same design, graphic design on it, as the Romans did. So I'm not coming into this with no knowledge of the ancient world or anything like that. In fact, not only do I have knowledge of the ancient world, this sort of thing is exactly where my academic interests lie. So hopefully I'll be a little bit more informative than others, though at the same time I'm not going to be putting it under the microscope in any way, because to do so I'd need to do a heck of a lot of reading, and I'm looking at the game today. Though Age of Decadence may later appear in a thesis or a journal article or something at some point, and trust me, I'd love to put it there because it actually offers a very interesting look at things. Because I could look at, for example, games, grand strategy games based on ancient Rome, and talk about where they deviate from the primary sources and why they deviate from primary sources. But I could also look at this in that it's a work of fiction based and inspired upon and by the ancient world, but not requiring itself to actually become part of the canon of the ancient world. It's rather creating its own story. So, enough talking about that. Let's talk about the game. First, let's look at the options. Options are actually pretty decent, to be honest. You can auto-detect quality. It's all very pretty. All the menus are nice and stylized, but also very clear, which is just so damn wonderful. And so I've got basically everything turned up to max. Audio, I'm so happy about this. You can control your provider, your device, interface, effects, music, and master volume, which I have turned down for this video. Hopefully you can still hear a little bit. I'll turn it up to there. And you've got various things. You can change the animation speed, the grid opacity, the rotation speed of the camera, quick saves, auto saves, all of that. So, you may have heard about this as being a hard game, and it really, really is. So we're going to look at it for a while and just see how we go. So let's start a new game. Now I'm going to show you, am I going to show you? Yeah, I'll show you the training. Why not? So, in combat, and this is really, really important to read actually. So I'm going to leave it on screen for a bit. So it's a different sort of difficult game, and that's great. So let's go to training. Hopefully that sound isn't too loud. Blah 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 blah. Let's just read through that quickly. Tell me more. Rule number 1, if you can't hit a man, you can't kill him. Rule number 2, if you can't kill a man fast enough, you're giving him an opportunity to do you in. And rule number 3, defense, dodging and blocking a first line of defense. What's the best way to survive a fight? Ah, yes. The best way to survive a fight is to avoid it entirely. It's not the warrior's way. Tell me about different attacks. Sword. Okay. Oh, wow. They take what's going on. If you're aiming for someone's artery, it takes a precision strike. What about special attacks? Yep. And what about critical strikes? Yep. That's all fairly straightforward, very logical as well. Anything else? There are nets, bowlers, and offensive academic accomplishments, including liquid fire and black powder bombs. Sure, that plenty of time experiment. Okay. So, we can go and choose some equipment for ourselves. So we currently have a Cephet, a net, and an auxiliary helmet. Now, what am I gonna chuck on, do I think? I'm actually not gonna go for heavy equipment, surprisingly. Lorica segmentata, which is literally the same name as that suit of armor for the Romans. So if you want to be fast, you need a lower armor penalty. Like that. Transfer that. Did I should take it? No, I didn't. Hold on. So I'm going to take the armor. And I'm actually going to go with a slightly longer weapon, I think. So we're going to have to see what we can find. Shefet, Shamshir, Handar, Kopesh, Sefet, Fugio, Punch, Kanjar, Yatagan. Lots of weapons here, lots of lovely weapons. I might actually say with the Cephet because I just want to demonstrate the combat. But okay, so currently I'm wearing Lorica segmentata, but I want to go for lighter gear. So check that on. Chuck that into our right. Chuck that into our left. Chuck on a helmet. So it is turn-based. Let's see if we can get him with my net. I got him with my net. Oops. Got to change my weapon. And that's, yes, there is coarse language in this. So in theory, he's easier to hit. And I didn't manage to hit him. But his armor actually absorbed all the damage. And now you can actually see, if you right click down here, you can change where you attack. So I'm going to try an arterial strike. I didn't assign any skills, of course. which was a mistake, I'll be honest. Go for a regular attack, and we don't have enough bonus points. So we'll end our turn. He is going to kill me, but that's rather the point of this. And I am now bleeding. Let's go for a whirlwind attack. And that is how one dies. Quite simple, yes. So, what I'm actually going to do is do the training once more for you. But this time I'm going to skill up and I'm going to put heavy armor on. You'll see it actually plays quite differently. Thankfully that you can subdivide everything up there. So we've got a character. Got general skill points. So we're going to up my sword skills. Oh, not that much. Keep it level 4, I think. Give me a little bit of dodge. So now I have much more of a strong advantage, and I'm going to absolutely tank out my character. So we're going to go for a tower shield, an imperial helmet, imperial armor. Ooh, the Praetorian armor does look good, doesn't it? You actually go for twin Carter as well, which is quite interesting. And we're going to go for... Odd that there's no Gladius here. Go for a scimitar. Transfer. Okay. So now I'm going to go into our inventory. We're going to put on the Imperial armor, which is quite good looking. Imperial helmet, which is interesting. Big shield. Am I an idiot? Yes. Okay, we don't actually want that sword. I might go for a hand dart, actually. Okay. So in theory, I stand a better chance of fighting him. So, sunshine. Shield bash. Knocks him back. I step forward. I take out the sword and hit him. And I actually still don't actually hurt him. But my armor takes, as you can see down the bottom left corner where it's rolling the combat, his powerful attacks aren't even getting close to the strength of my armor. Let me go for an arterial strike, see if I can get him. Nope. Managed to draw blood there. Aim for his arms, I think. So even so, he's still landing a lot more hits than I am. It's a bit embarrassing, to be honest. And turn. See, I may still die even like this, and this is kind of the point of this tutorial. It's just to point out, well, you're in trouble. Go for a head strike, miss. She's gonna go for the legs next, I think. His whole point is that the argument is you can actually play this game without ever fighting someone. Definitely fair attack. The animations aren't too bad, to be honest. Yeah. See if we can bring him down at all. So as you can see, I've taken an arm injury, so it's actually counting against my attack rating there in the top right. My defense rating's pretty good. Let's start aiming for his arms again, I think. Next turn. It's gonna take a long time for him to kill me anyway. I'm down to 1 HP though. And there we go, I am still dead. Alright, so you get the idea. Combat's not designed to be easy, it's designed to be quite hard. Because you're not a superhero, you're just a normal person. So start a new game. Start game. So you have quite a few choices, of course. There are a whole 8 backgrounds, which are basically your classes, and each background affects your faction reputation. So you can be an assassin, a thief, a praetor, a lawmaster, a grifter, a drifter, a mercenary, or a merchant. So, lawmasters, preserving and understanding pre-war knowledge and technology is a lucrative business. An increasing number of people see their salvation in the ashes of the past, and thus the market is becoming saturated with icons and objects from the old empire, with most without any real value. Always on the lookout for something of real worth, cataloging and appraising items, lawmasters remain at the front line of this trade. Also means you get quite different power, sort of, at the start of the game for role-playing. Because if you start with a praetor, of course, if you have a look, got a better relationship with the Boatmen of Styx, who are the assassins. You've got a negative relationship with the House of Aurelian, and you've got a reputation with the 40 Thieves. Whereas these guys have a really good reputation, except for with the Imperial Guards who help them. However, being the little nerd I am, I'm going to play as a Lawmaster. And what are we going to call ourselves? Decadence. Why not? Get the feel of the theme. Okay. Interesting. There's no special art for Lawmasters. Okay. Got a few different appearance options. Okay, what the heck do we have? So we got a few options there. I don't know what the difference between that and that are. Probably nothing. We got some brown hair. And a brown beard. There we go. Right, next. So, base stats for a Lawmaster: very high intelligence, charisma, good perception, decent constitution, lowest is of course strength. So, combat skills. Boost dodge, boost my dagger, and boost my sword as well just in case. Civil skills. Well, get some etiquette for ourselves. Of course, some law, because that's what I am. Give us some persuasion as well. I think those will be good, because this really is very, very important for the gameplay. More so even than things more classic cRPGs. Yeah, just said that. All right, so let's get into it. So I have to say I do quite like the art style of this game. It is quite a good-looking game. In its own little way, it looks dated. Its art style definitely isn't sort of up on the cutting edge or anything, but it's solid looking, I think, is the thing. The world and an empire that once ruled now lie in ruins. Noble houses that lorded over provinces and commanded vast armies have been reduced to broken city-states. The Imperial Guard, remnants of the Imperial Army, acts as the deterrent to open warfare. The knowledge of the old days has been all but forgotten. Hucksters peddle ancient wares of no value to the ignorant, and the lords seek and hoard artifacts they barely understand. A fanatical mysticism is slowly gaining favour, and long-held resentments are rising to the surface. Some speculate that another war approaches, others actively encourage it. Times like these bring nothing but suffering for the common man. However, they offer a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to those determined to seize the moment and follow it to riches, power, glory, and often an untimely death. Sounds like fun, right? Adventure starts in Terum, a small crumbling town far away from the main tracks of travellers and caravans. It's been dying for the last 100 years or so, kept alive only by the combined efforts of its inhabitants. Broken stonework has been replaced by makeshift wooden construction, creating the impression that a new town is slowly emerging from the ruins of an old one. Much like Terum, the noble houses controlling the town has seen better days. Before the war that toppled the empire and the devastation ensued, House Daratan was one of the most powerful houses. But that was then, and times have changed. Today, it barely has enough strength to maintain its hold over the local guilds. As a child, you loved listening to stories about the old days, filled with the gods fighting alongside men, power-wielding magi, more demigods than human, and monsters conjured by the Powderly Kuntari. So, when an opportunity presented itself, you signed up as an apprentice to the local lawmaster named Feng. Lawmasters have always been in demand. While the future offers little, the past is rich and ripe for the taking. You just need to know where to dig and what to do with it, and that's where lawmasters came in. To master their craft, they dug through ruins, copied ancient manuscripts, often without understanding them, traded bits and pieces of pre-war knowledge, and appraised anything that looked old. While the Magi are long gone, the machines they built still remain. Lawmasters are the only ones who may have the knowledge to bring them back. So, nothing of interest. Okay, so this sort of isometric viewpoint seemed quite familiar. Let's go and talk to Feng. He wants to talk to us. I'm actually going to read as much of the dialogue as I can for everyone. Ben came to Terum with a caravan 2 decades ago. Nobody knew where he came from or why, but he had the bitterness of a man soured by the memory of the life he had lost. He was well versed in languages and the antiquities, but the town already had a lawmaster. Fortunately for Feng, the lawmaster fell sick and passed away, despite the best efforts of the local alchemist, who was quite puzzled by the symptoms. Feng became the new lawmaster and even earned the favour of Lord Antinous after discovering several Daratan relics. Talk to Feng. Did you finish translating that scroll? Never mind. I have a better job for you. Someone at the inn has a trinket they want me to look at. Why don't you handle it? Just remember what I taught you. Take a good look, show some excitement, and tell them it's a very valuable artifact that's worth a lot to the right collector, and that they are right to bring it to us to learn for the true value. Wait for the words to sink in, and then ask for 100 Imperials to search it further. Well, what if it is valuable? Artifacts? I've been stuck in the shithole you call a town for the last 20 years. Year after year, farmers and diggers bring me everything they find, hoping for a lucky break. They bring me bracelets, cheap pottery, rusty old blocks, pipes, chamber pots, even deformed skulls. The sad truth is that this town doesn't have anything of value, which is probably the only reason why Antidus is still in charge. Why do you say that? So keep on. Map. Yep, okay, I'll go there right away, Master. The inn is full of guests. After speaking weeks and sometimes months on the road, they have an unhealthy appetite for cheap wine, stove meal, and women willing to share their beds for a few coins. You navigate through the busy crowd and go upstairs. The trader's room is easy to find. Are you the lawmaster I sent for? Asked Gracchus, letting you in. I'm Nicodemus, Master Feng's apprentice. Should my master's attention be required, I'll send for him. Where's the artifact? Right here. He hands you the scroll. You open the scroll carefully and study for a few minutes. It looks like an ordinary map depicting a temple. There is an old seal at the bottom. The name of the seal is Agoth. Okay. Yep, so I'm going to have a look at that. What's true my value? I'll have to study the map further, basically. That's how we ask for grants, apparently. Okay. Yep. So according to the legends, the High Lords were our allies in the war between our glorious empire and the rulers of Kuntari. While the nature is debatable, most lawmasters agreed that it was definitely supernatural. The map bears the seal of Thorogoth, or Thorogoth, as he was also known. Signaling to the seal, well, I'll have a law success because I'm smart. Thorogos's title was the Artificer. He built many machines, but most were destroyed during the war or lost after. There are many people who hope that some caches have survived and can be recovered. They collect and study Thorogos's documents looking for clues, and that's why we want to be absolutely certain that the seal that makes the map so valuable isn't fake. It might be very embarrassing for you otherwise, unless, of course, you insist that. Of course not, Master. Please take the map, okay? So I get the money, yep. I found this with the map. I'm not even sure it's enough. Okay, so he hands me a random thing, I'll take it and have a look. Sure, I'll talk to this prospector. So you've seen the slaves get a prospector, blah blah blah. Big man, heavy beard. Opens bag, dozens of carefully wrapped items. He browses shows gears, pottery, half-burned scrolls with faded, no longer desirable letters, glass jars with strange liquids. Anything you want to buy? Asked the prospector anxiously. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I find myself without sufficient funds for a compensation. He picks up a rusted cylinder with a spiral groove. The definition of a mysterious device. I wonder this artifact know about. What do you think, Lawmaster? It's called a worm and it's missing a gear that goes with it. It was a common device. Your magic is like firefighting. You can cook your food and help you forge weapons and tools. Also burned down your house or if our host money is control, which we don't have to begin with. I'm gonna try my streetwise skills. How much you want for it? 500. Considering no one in Stan will pay 500 for it, you can either sell it for 300. I'll think about it. Turn to Master Vane. There we go. Map, sphere, and 100 Imperials. And I will rest the night. So I see there's a lot of reading to be done in this game, a lot of role playing essentially. Map is ordinary, no X marks the spot there. The seal is interesting and well preserved, but it's worth no more than 100 Imperials. Maybe antidote. Antidote. What about the trader, Gracchus? Almost forgot. He's dead, so you can keep the map. Only wasn't welcome in town. Is there anything else you want me to do? Okay, blah 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 blah. I just invited another lawmaster to Terran. Needless to say, I don't share his opinion that two heads are better than one, and I'll be very grateful if we can find a way to get rid of the new lawmaster. His name is Cassius. He's probably at the room. Eating already, so don't waste time. Secure my future. They asked me to kill him. Yep, he wants me to kill him. I'm a historian, sir, not a murderer. Not sure I approve of such a proposal. Let's go back out into town. So everything seems to run quite smoothly, which is always good. So I've actually technically leveled up from that little chat. So let's go into our skills. Boost our civil skills. I might actually up my streetwise a little bit. And my impersonate, just in case. Always valuable. Double right clicking, of course, makes you run. What do you sell, merchant? Tunics and togas. Browse the wares. What have you got? What have you got? Cassava root, sulfur, Gracchus map, Groot sphere, Kanjar, and a sepet, and some bronze. I could get a cape, not a noble's cape though. I could afford it. It's all very cheap, this stuff. Some vanity. I'm going to wear a cape now. I look wonderful. Okay, what do you sell? Oh, he even sells garum. Garum is, of course, basically a rotted fish sauce. Lovely stuff. What do you sell, merchant? Exotic dyes and embroideries. What do you have? Oh, you also have capes and clothes. Interesting. Basically, it looks like you're a clone of the merchant on the other side. Oh, an encounter. Into the market square and a man in rich robes approaches you. Decadence. It's a Greek name. A merchant by trade. I'm terribly sorry to impose on you, but I'm in a bit of a predicament. You see, the finest, I deal with fast open garments. Each is work of art. Unfortunately, I can't. Okay. Some other time, maybe. I'm not really into weapons, so it's not much use to me. What's going on down here? Okay, he's preaching. Well, let's look at the fountain first. We see a man attempting to preach to the crowd of curious onlookers. He's climbed onto a pile of rocks to make himself heard. Stay and listen. Look around you, he rumes, his face reddening with frustration. What more do you need to realize that we are on the wrong path? For thousands of years we've tried to build a better world. For ourselves, for our children. And for thousands of years we've failed. What is left of mankind's greatest works, our glorious empire, ruins, rubble, dust. For emphasis, he kicks a stone from the pile he stands on, and it clatters noisily into the cobblestones. The crowd, momentarily hushed by his vehemence. Of your eyes, all of you, see mankind for what it is, lost, stumbling through the darkness. A darkness that is our own foolish, wicked natures, blinding us. We have no light to guide us out of our misery, no shepherd to lead us to greener pastures. In our arrogance, we built monuments to glorify our own pride, gilded halls of vanity and excess. We believed that our palaces would be eternal, impervious to the tides of time and fate that sweep aside all merely mortal accomplishments. Frail as summer flowers we were, yet we believed ourselves as the mighty lion, golden and proud, the entire world ours to stalk and prey upon. In our pride, we forgot our pact with heaven. We forgot that the first kingship came from the gods. We forgot those same gods, scorned their power. Worse, we believed ourselves to be gods. We held our empire to be equal to heaven itself. But we are not the gods' equals. We are but beggars before the divine, the lowliest of the low. We must seek their forgiveness, beg them not to turn from us, and as they turned away from the corruption of the old empire. The man is gesturing wildly now, his eyes burning with zeal, and for a moment more the spell holds, the crowd subdued in the face of his conviction, but only for a moment. So what would you have us do now, exactly? Someone yells, breaking the spell. Fancy words are all well and good, but I don't see no gods coming down to help me till my fields or feed my children. Laughter ripples through the crowd, and the man deflates slightly. Shaking his head, the expression mournful, he points at the naysayer. Have you not been listening? Have you not ears on your head? It is not the gods' place to serve us. It is up to us to show the gods that we are willing to serve them. Faith once more. Yeah, but how? Another voice less to rise at this time. The question genuine. What will bring the gods' favour again, priest? I'm going to keep listening to this. Some in the crowd are leaning forward now, attentive. Seeing his chance, the preacher spreads his arm, chin high and chest puffed up. The gods are waiting. They wait for a sign of our renewed devotion. Discard your false pride, people of Teron. Open your hearts to heaven. Turn away from your false lords and masters. For no man who is ordained by the gods is fit to lead. None but those chosen and blessed with the wisdom of heaven can faithfully guide mankind back into the divine light of righteousness. Only they can deliver us from... You want us to turn on Antidas, the heckler interrupts him again. Are you mad, old man? If the guards here, you'll be struck out up outside the palace for the crowds to feast on, and us with you. I'm not going to throw a stone, I think I'll keep listening. Opinion is turning on the priest. Angry mutterings sweep through the assembly. And which blessed man would you have lead us? That lunatic Meru? That your chosen one? Don't mock what you don't understand, foolish one. Lord Meru has seen the light and embraced its wisdom. He's one of the first of the humble and devoted, guided by the great prophet Nabopolassar himself. The prophet is the hand of heaven in the mortal realm, a living conduit between our world and the gods themselves. It was the gods who commanded Nabopolassar to travel to Ganesa, there to reveal himself to Lord Meru and guide him towards the blessed path. Bah! We've got enough prophets here in Teron. You can't throw a stone without hitting three of them. The crowd roars its mirth as the preacher's face purples in outrage. Laugh then, fools. But you haven't stood in the presence of the divine as I have. Go to Ganesa yourselves and hear Lord Meru speak. The hands of the gods rest upon his shoulder. All who hear him fall to their knees and weep at the joyous redemption he offers. I think we've heard enough, you old fool, the heckler again. He spits his contempt at the old man's feet and turns, smoking his and pushes his way out to the crowd. At this, the crowd begins to disperse, grinning and making jokes. I'm going to talk to this guy. Sighing, the old man steps down from his makeshift platform, looking you over. One man, the old man addresses his question to the sky above. Is this all you give me? I'm going to use my intelligence, naturally. I could have been a smartass, but I'm not going to. Discard the pride, brother. Did you not just command us all to put our faith in the gods? Stay on the path they have set for you, and other followers will come in time. The bridge looked startled. Grimacing, he lifts his hand in apology. Yes. You are right, of course. Forgive me. It's been a long, tiring day, and I've received nothing but scorn for my efforts. I forgot myself. A momentary lapse. No more. And it is exactly when we are weak and times are hard that we must be most vigilant in our thoughts. The gods watch us, test us, always. The bridge's mouth is gaping now, his eyes wide with surprise. He is clearly not used to being on the receiving end of a sermon, and seems at a loss as to how to respond. Eventually he manages a question. Who are you? My name is Nicodemus. Until now I hadn't realized I've been searching for some meaning in life. Until I heard you speaking here about the gods, that is. I want to learn, brother. I want to know what the gods want me to do with my life. Okay, so my response to his statement of asking what I know. Why did the gods leave? We haven't seen them again. If they wish to help us, why did they leave just to starve and struggle? The gods do not serve man, it is man who must serve the gods. They destroyed the Centauri demons as a demonstration of their eternal mercy, but they expect us to take the next step. We must show the gods that we are ready to serve them once again. We must cast out the false lords and parasites who still seek to turn men from their true purpose. Only once we have shown we are ready, will the gods return to us. Who are these gods come from? Child, they were always here. It was we who forgot them. The scheming magi and the jealousy turned men from worship of the true gods to worshipping themselves. They and their puppet emperor outlawed the worship of the gods, blinded the masses with their magic tricks, and so the gods were forgotten, until we faced our certain destruction at the hands of the Centauri and their demons. Then the gods chose to show us their mercy. They came to our plane to destroy the demons and shattered the grip of the corruption of magic. We spoke of false lords. The Magi may be dead, but the corruption they created lives on. Greedy men, hearts closed to the wisdom of heaven, seek to rule us. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm going to use my intelligence again. I think the color of the stat name actually informs you of how likely you are to succeed. Do you not realize the consequences of your teachings, creature? Do you not realize why the people scorn you? You would call them to war. War? Nonsense. I seek to bring them light and the peace of gods. Their lives are filled with suffering and toil. If they were joined with Lord Merrick, I respond. It would mean war. Think, preacher. Do you think Antidas or Gaius would stand idly by while their people flock to serve the House Crassus? They would see it as a threat to themselves and march to war against Light Maru and his pet prophet. They might even form an alliance against a mutual foe. The breacher's mouth opens to deny her, but the words don't seem to come. Frowning, all he can manage is a feeble protest. The gods would not allow it to come to war. No, surely not. This is their way is the path of peace. Persuasion. Just as they didn't allow it to come to war when the Empire fell, perhaps a war is part of their plan. Perhaps the lives of mere mortals aren't all that important to God's plans. Oh, we didn't allow. The Empire fell because humanity turned their backs on the gods. We will not come to war if we truly devote ourselves to the gods' will. They will see to it that their faithful are protected. You are seeking to draw me from the path of the righteous with your doubting words. Begone, I do not wish to speak to you anymore. And that's actually affected my reputation with House Crassus, so I walk away. I could have left that conversation a lot earlier quite easily, but I chose not to because I chose to question his beliefs, so we don't want to go this way, I don't think. And I just wanted to sort of emphasize that scene, because I knew it was there, and I apologize for being omnipotent, but I did know it was there. And that's quite a key element of this game, is that that's not actually an encounter that matters to the current plot where we are right now. But it's a serious discussion you can have, because you are really, really playing a role. I mean, another sort of character, maybe an assassin or a soldier, would have reacted very differently to the same situation. And that's where this game's strength really, really does lie, in that I can't think of a single game where I can roleplay more that isn't a pen and paper game, that isn't D&D or something. I'm sure that... Yes, they are smoking cigarettes. I'm confused. Stockland Mercenary. Merchant. Fine Clothing and Army. I could impersonate, but that'll probably get me killed, so I won't. Master's garments. A hood. Tempted to buy a hood, actually. Yeah, let's buy a hood. Cool. Oh, we've been sent by a master to kill Cassius. Listen to the storyteller first. You see them in, I won't actually read through all this. My voice will give out first. Stay and listen. Reading. You probably can't keep up with me. You may be pausing the video to do this, to read this, but I'm sorry. Okay, I can actually interact now. It's really weird in Demons. Storyteller smiles. I'll tell you about the lords that came with Ibn Haddad. So how did they defeat the Qadari? Stories are silent. Ah, see, this isn't just a question that's asked in this game. It's a question sometimes asked about the Roman Empire. So these savages and animal men, they defeated the might of the old empire. That usually works in subtler ways than sending in a fleet of savages with trained teams to show us, does it not? Interesting, so perhaps the stories aren't entirely truthful. And I leave. So it was just, yeah, another little aside, a bit of lore. But we're here to talk to Cassius. 42-year-old Lawmaster Cassius, contemptuously called young Cassius by his grey-haired colleagues, has never understood the appeal of digging through dirt and ruins like a rat. Instead, he preferred to spend his time on neatly preserved scrolls, studying the work of many prominent Lawmasters of the antiquity, and hundreds of accompanying commentaries he considered indispensable. Master Cassius is working on his second tractate, analysing manifestations of the divine will in the year 4052, when Antides's emissaries invited to Terran. Cassius arrived early and was getting tired of waiting when he showed up and graced him with attention. Is there something you want? I'm actually not going to lure him to the meet. I'm going to take him to Antidas. What do you want? This is the cap of the gun. I'd like to introduce you to Master Cassius, who is a personal guest of Lord Antidas. Master Fane asked me to kill him, but as soon as I learned that Lord Antidas was involved, I immediately thought, so, I get 2 skill points for doing that, and my loyalty decreased. Can I speak to Lord Antidas? Of course, after degree value. What do I need to do? Wait here while I put Cassius inside. Okay, plenty of your own people, good question, blah blah. Digging some old ruins not far from Terran. Apparently it was an old mining facility and some machines are still intact. Sorab. An expert on machines. I'm going to trace my impersonate. That looks good. Sorab is Bactrian. Bactria is actually a place in what is now the Middle East. So you'll have to speak with an Eastern accent. He spends most of his time in the workshops. Chances are they all know his name. All they know is his name. You'd have to look the part, of course, but I assume that a robe will do. What else can you tell me? Not much, ruins are everywhere, but we don't have enough money. How do they get supplies? So if I'm harder to be supplied regularly and how used to living off land, that's what's even fine. Give me any men? No. Is there anything else I can do? I'll think about it. So I'll need a rope. Ah, Thessalos wants to show me something. Well, let's follow him. What do you think? Looking at the artifacts, I examined the artifacts. You see a strange bronze helmet, covered with a layer of thick green corrosion. It looks as though helmet's favoured by the Mamillo, but lacks any direct decorations. Strangely, there are small glass fragments in the vase behind the eye gratings. Whatever it was used for, it wasn't combat. Another artifact is a globe with strange protrusions like the helmet. Protrusions have rusted through and crumbled off in places, but it appears they used to hold something. You recall a drawing of a magus in one of the manuscripts. The gloved hand of the magus was outstretched into a swirling mist. The glove was glowing and had looked like power tubes filled with divine breath of the gods, loaded in the metal protrusions. Last item is an antique orrery, an intricate device that shows positions and orbits of the celestial bodies. You aren't trained in the art of stargazing. You know enough to understand the markings on the orrery. You move the planets according to the markings on a straight line. Well, if you'd like us to evaluate your artifact properly, there's no need for that. See, he doesn't actually want them valued or anything. He's a collector. He collects these things, and there's actually the orrery right there. If you haven't seen it before. So that's the way out, I think. I'm so lost right now. Okay, that's where we are. So I said I needed a robe. I wonder whether this robe will do. Whether I can buy one. Okay, that might be Garen. I can increase my skills at something. I only got 5. Not really worth it right now. So if I press J, it brings up that. I've got to go and talk to Della again. Where are we? Where are you actually? Lost Della. I've lost where I am actually. Oh, there he is. No. So we'll run back over there. I also find the music quite good, because I mean it's not particularly complex or anything, but it's nice and it sort of suits the theme and everything, which is a good. So I'll talk to Della. Okay. So I'll give you a problems a shot. Doesn't give me a robe, does he? No. So I told him I will have a look into his problems. This could result in my death, to be honest. So we're going to save. So we'll go all the way down here. He did just ask around, I think. So suggest I should get myself a nice robe. So let's see if we can. Do you know anyone buying supplies on a regular basis? I'll give you 50 Imperials. Rascals, he's in the shanty town. You don't have robes. There's got to be someone who sells robes in this little town.
finest selection of good at unbelievable prices. Here's some more military stuff. Not much good to me. Let's head back this way. There's an alchemist. That's probably not going to be much help to me. Yeah, I didn't think so. That's a blacksmith. Might have something. Not likely though. Nope. I'm gonna avoid my master for the time being. So there's it's actually a very, very nice map. So shanty towns out there, Tavern, Fang, Batman, Healer, Palace, Patrician's Quarters, Imperial Forum. So that's a tavern. Interesting. Let's head down to Shantytown and see what anyone has for me. If anyone has anything for me. Looking for a man called Rascos. What's going on? Need to pay a levy to enter. See how much they need to pay. 30 imperials per head. That's helpless. I don't have enough money, unfortunately. Otherwise I would. Let's keep going. Rascos. Alaskan man. Come, he says in Shay's accent. Good food, very cheap. Special recipe, make you strong like ox. Sure, throw him a cone. Run after him. Well, I've lost some more money. Maybe later. Still looking for this Rascos. I have no idea how to do that properly. So they said talk to someone down here. Ah, there he is. Up against the wall. What do you want? Oh, sorry, it's nice. You know, I hear you've been trading with your aliens. How's Daratona's about to reconnect the wine? What do I have to do to make the money? Spike the wine. How much do you want? 20 barrels, so I have to explain to Della why you're considering the enemy. I probably can't kill him. Tempted to run back to Della and tell him what the GO is. See if he'll do anything about it. He probably won't, but I can try. It's one way to run, isn't it? Look at me go. Very Roman style villas there. It's very nice. Very pretty. Talk to Della. Give me a moment. Okay, I can't talk to him about anything. So, we're going to continue on. See if we can actually convince anyone that I am actually a dirty low-down thief. I mean, not a dirty low-down thief. Whatever I'm supposed to be. Something. I can just world map it, can't I? Yeah. This is a world map. It's actually quite nicely done too. The settlement's sort of sitting quite nicely. So we're going to try to go to the mining outpost. This is where they supposedly have found many things of value, and I've got to pretend to be someone that I'm not. So I'm going to save. Oh crap, I didn't. Sitting in the shadow of the mountain, the Aurelian outpost is protected from prying eyes by a tall wooden palisade that circles it. The guard watches you approach from atop a wooden tower, his high vantage point offering him an unobstructed view of the road leading to the camp. Dress as a lore master and approach the mine, but I already look like a lore master. Turn and leave. Okay. My name is Sordo. Ah, sod. Well, what we're going to do is actually see if we can load and just pull it up by just being honest and saying that we're a lore master, which may work. Just lore master. Okay, I'm not here to cause trouble. Wait here. Decadence is more success. I most certainly do. I drive all used to craft such holy vessels to contain the essence of the divine. Now tell me, why is the lore master chosen? I'm going to use persuasion. Terra is a small town. As honest defender is lucky to have Lord Antinous' patronage. The rest of us have no choice but to seek work elsewhere, which is why I'm here. Alright, the only chance you got it. Get the machine working and you'll have to pay for work again. Sounds good. You follow the Decadence through the camp and into the ancient tunnel carved into the mountain. The tunnel leads into a small chamber filled with strange machines towering above you. We're still trying to clear the mine area in shafts, but it will take months. This hall, however, was mostly intact and the machines do appear to be undamaged. Now show me what you can do. I'll look at the machines. Recognize some of the stuff. I think I know what to do. I can see, put the relic inside. I recite the appropriate mantra. It works. The mantra does not require you to understand what you're doing, but it does a good job leading you through a series of steps grouped into chapters. Some chapters require you to watch the dials and adjust the valves to achieve divine harmony. Other chapters warn about the dangers of overheating and tell you how to keep the environmental's control. This is also a bit reminiscent of the Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k, where you know the technology is actually still governed by a priesthood, essentially. I shall complete the ritual, so I don't want to die. Takes you almost an hour to achieve it. Well done, Master. He's respectful. Would you let me escort you to my room? Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go there. So as you can see, I could have chosen to do so many different things and change sides and stuff, but I've decided to side with a different faction now. Taking the demise of the Imperial Guards at the hands of the boatmen as a good omen, Lord Antidus steps up the recruitment efforts. So it's actually progressed the story for us as well. Lord Antidus steps up the recruitment efforts of House Daratan. Pardons are granted to bandits and raiders willing to serve the house, and mercenaries are hired en masse with King's gold. Without the Imperial Guards to keep the newly arrived fighting men in check, the town quickly descends into near lawlessness, becoming little more than a camped mercenary army waiting for an order march. Okay, so interestingly, I'm sure I missed a lot of things, yet these events still go on without me, which is really nice. So, events of that chapter. I double-crossed Fang and helped Cassius replace Miss Lord Antidus as personal lawmaster. Unfortunately, there is little for him to do in Terran, and House Daratan does not benefit from Cassius' vast knowledge of law in the olden days. Master Fang has managed to escape, however, and according to rumors, has resurfaced in Ganeza, quickly gaining Lord Mary's trust and favour. So those are two major events in that cycle of the story. So that's very, very interesting. So we're just going to see what our new location is like, what the go is. So there's so many different ways you can do this. This is just the story for one class. There are 8 classes you can play, which affects things as well. Because those plots interweave a bit. After a few weeks of travel, Martyrs, marble minarets and sandstone domes finally appear out of the shimmering desert. Once the jewel of the Empire, it is now a city of crumbling ruins and forgotten glory. The rivers that fed it dry, its once fertile fields, now barren rock and endless drifting sand. The Great War devastated Martyrin,
Almost a quarter of its citizens died in the arcane blast that created the infamous abyss. The sickness that followed it nearly succeeded in wiping out the rest. But cities rarely die with dignity. Man returned to Martyrum. Scavengers seeking to loot the treasures of the past, oblivious to the weight of history around them as they squabbled over food and gold. So we're in Martyrum, in the main hall. Lord Guiley's holds court, receiving daily visitors. I approach. The Decadence explains quickly the situation to Decadence, and while Lord Guiley listens carefully, I'm not sure what to do with you. You've served my scores, shown skills few possess. I'm grateful for your help, but I'll test you first before I make up my mind. Yes, my lord. And swear allegiance to me. Etiquette. I swear to serve you, your cause, and House Aurelian faithfully, never cause you harm, and will observe my homage to you completely against all persons in good faith and without deceit. Well said. There's an old tomb south of here, too far from any town. It's been a raiders' den for years. Every now and then we clear them out. Do you want me to deal with them? If it comes to it, he said. But that's not why I'm sending you there. Have you heard of the Helm of Destiny? It's an ancient helmet. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Yep. Okay, so I've got to go find a thing for people. Darius's men bentles. Okay. So they buried him in someone else's tomb. I think so. Why is it called the Helm of Destiny? Legends say it leads his word to glory. Maybe he's a good general. Maybe. But against his failure, you go to the helmet. Yep. Quite mad. If the helmet's there, I'll find it. Okay, so I'm going to finish the video up here because just like with Wasteland, we could go on for hours and hours and hours and, you know, use everyone's data up. But that's sort of like the first little chapter, I guess, of the game, which is a fantastic game. It's very, very immersive. It's one of the best story-driven things I've ever played. I mean, you really can, as far as I can get so far, play it with a minimum to no combat, and that's not detrimental to this game. It's actually one of the main attractions of this game because it is very much narrative, but in such a way that it doesn't suffer in the way that a lot of other narrative-driven games, like adventure games, suffer. So it is on Steam. I'm going to put a link to below. Check it out if you want. I've been Sagrannus. This has been my little bit of a special on the Age of Decadence, true cRPG that launched very recently and is available on Steam. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.